This video is a demonstration of how to draw a specific type of chair. This is a Herman Miller Eames chair, E-A-M-E-S. And I'll try to put the image of the chair in the announcement so you can refer to it and look at it. And so you guys have done some exercises in studying 1-point perspective and 2-point perspective. And try to make a connection between that and drawing this chair. Okay? Let's see here. Bring up the image. This chair is difficult to draw because of the complexity of the legs elevation. The back legs are shorter than the front legs. You have curves within the shapes. So I'm going to start off with trying to draw the seat portion first in the middle, and then I'm going to draw the legs and then the backrest and the part that connects the backrest to the chair itself as well. And I'm going to start off with a lighter line, and then once I'm happy with that, then I'm going to go ahead and darken in the lines and make it more contrasty so it's easier to see. And at this stage, it's okay to kind of make mistakes, and it doesn't have to be perfect. What I want to do is look at the seat itself and what part of the seat would be a good place to draw first. And I'm gonna start off with the leading edge of that chair. The edge of that seat is it's pretty visible. You can see where it is. So that's that light tan color edge, the plywood. The edge, and it has thickness, so I'm going to show the thickness of the leading edge, and I also want to pay attention to its proportion. So that transition of that corner from the top left to the bottom shelf of that edge, I want to see if that's correct. This could go a little bit further out, I think. All right. So I'm done with the leading edge here. Then I'm going to add the cushion portion. So it's raised slightly and I'm going to follow along the cushion and see where it kind of rises on the right side a little bit, and then has that round portion on the right side. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm just reviewing the proportion. The next part is I want to add the bottom side of the cushion. You can actually see it. It's like a curved plane. I think that's what makes this tough to draw. It's not a flat plane, it's a curved plane. And right now I'm not really paying attention to the colors or the texture, the wood grain, that sort of thing. I just want to look at the basic shape. Okay, and next, well, before we go further, just kind of reviewing the proportion here. I think this rise of the cushion should be a little bit longer right here where it connects. And I'm not worried about texture, just the shapes and proportion. And that ties into the still lives and the basic shapes exercises that we have been working with over and over again, just basic proportions of height and width of objects. And what makes this chair difficult is there's multiple parts, and connecting the parts, that's what makes it difficult. Okay, next I'm going to go to the legs. Okay, and I want to measure, like figure out where does the leg actually connect to this seat area, and it connects right here. Oh, I also want to check the length of the leg in relationship to the length of the seat. And the length of the leg is actually slightly shorter. Okay, I'm measuring with my eyes and with my pencil. I'm just extending my arm and measuring the length of the pencil against the seat, the horizontal length, and then I'm turning it sideways, the pen, and notice that's like 80% of the length of the seat. So here, this is approximately the width just vertically of where that should distance, and I'm going to make it a little bit shorter There you go. So that, just that little dot, that tells me that's where I'm going to end up with that leg portion. And also this leg is not perfectly straight vertically. It just very slightly, a few degrees, is bent at an angle. Okay, and this leg also, it's a little bit wider at the top, and then gets narrower as you go down. Okay, there's has thickness, so it has like a side. Okay, let's just take a look at that, if that leg is okay. And then I'm going to draw the other leg, and I have to look at it and see, okay, I'm gonna put my pencil up against the leg of the image that I'm looking at and try to decipher what's the angle, and where does that start. So this is approximate angle right here. And does it go as low as this leg right here? No, it's slightly higher elevation wise. So if I draw a line going across, that's equal to that first leg that we did, and we want to go up just slightly. There you go, and that's the width, and the top width gets wider at the top. And I'm just looking at for a basic proportion, get that the proportions correct, the shape. And you notice we're just going one piece at a time, because a lot of times with drawing complex shapes, just drawing in general, it's just it's frustrating because you do one piece and the proportion looks good, and then you mess up the other portion, and it just throws off the whole accuracy or the proportion of the overall object. Yeah, I'm pretty much, that looks pretty good to me. With this, I'm going to go back to my first leg. I'm just going to widen it slightly. Just ever, I want to just make that a little bit beefier. There we go. All right. So now what's next? You know what? I'm going to go towards that connecting piece with the backrest. Okay, that's a tough one. That's a challenging one. And before I draw that, I want to look at the negative space. And there is a negative space on the area around the shape itself. There's this little triangular negative space. I'm actually going to try to draw that little shape. Okay. And then that's going to help me to place my other piece here, that the part that connects to the backrest. It's like this curving shape. It starts off a little bit higher, then it falls off down. Then I will add thickness to that bent plywood. This is actually one of the hardest parts of this. And I notice I want to extend this out a little bit further, because that seat does extend out. Here's that edge part, here's the cushion part. Whew, okay, so we got that kind of bent curved area. Pretty good. We got that negative shape going right there. And if I follow up this little piece right here, I'll put a little arrow here for you. Oops, let me make that smaller. Right here. So I'm going to follow that up, and just with a light line, bring it up, extend it up. I can erase that portion right there later on. And this is that piece, the spine that connects the seat portion to the backrest. Wow, all right. I think that looks pretty good. Next, I'm going to rough in the top of the chair here, and I want to figure out, what's nice is by taking the time and doing a good job on that seat, it makes the rest of the drawing a little bit easier to get the proportions correct. Kind of like a rounded trapezoid. So if I just draw a square, I mean a straight edged kind of trapezoidal shape just to get the basic proportions in there. Okay, and that'll give me the structure or the shape to do the details, the curvature, the rounded corners. And there's the backrest plywood is a little bit narrower, less thick than the seat portion. So I want to round out, get that angle correct. All right, and just double check the negative space, this space, this space, this space, the space around the object. That really helps to just double check. So it's rounded now, and see, get my eraser, and I can erase some of those. Okay, I go back to my pen. Next is, once we're happy with the overall shape and form, proportion of what we've done so far, next I'm going to try to draw the other, the leg. And what is a way to draw the other leg? So we did the front leg earlier. So I'm going to extend my arm and take my pencil, and I'm going to look at my reference image of this chair, and I'm going to tilt the pencil until it connects the front, bottom of the front of that first leg to the back leg, okay? And then I'm going to close my left eye, my right eye is dominant, and then I'm going to move that pencil over to my paper, and that'll give me an approximate direction angle. Okay, so the angle, and it's all about measurements and angles, like geometry. So what degree is that? I'm not sure. Maybe 30 degrees. Okay, but by objectively extending my arm, looking at my subject matter, whether it's a chair in front of me, an actual chair, or a picture of the chair, okay, it's facing me, I can close one eye, and then I can figure out how that connects, the angle of that line, and I bring it over to the chair. Okay, and I'm going to do that with the other side. So that's kind of the basic angle of that, the back leg. And next I'm going to actually try to draw it with the pen. And it connects with that spine area. So, and how far does this leg come out? Think about right here. That'll be my guideline for myself. So here, that bottom portion of that, it curves, that bent plywood, it comes down. Okay, and then I'm going to draw it's narrower on the bottom, wider at the top, and then it gets narrower at the top portion of the, see how that taper, that curve with that straight line, that's the tough part. And then we're going to do that beveled edge, like the side, to give it the illusion of thickness here. And that just keeps moving up, and it goes to the other side. All right. Good. Let me erase these guidelines right here. If you have any questions, just leave a comment or ask. This is a tough one. but I think it's just fun to give it a try. And if we make mistakes, we make mistakes. We can learn from it. Before we go any further, check out this space right here. That's the negative space, the empty space between the chair legs. And this is the area that I would ask you to, as an artist, you can say, okay, that shape of that negative space, compare it to your original and say, how does that look? And this is the time to kind of fix it. It's harder to fix it when you put too much detail and you spend too much time on something. So next one, I'm going to quickly look at, okay, we had that angle here. What's the angle on the other side to the back right leg? There it is right there. So that gives me a good guideline, and then I can look at my reference image and say, okay, there's my leading edge. This drops. Shows the thickness of that. And I'm not happy with that. I have too much space. The width of this is too much. So I need to move this piece to the left. So I'm going to go backwards and fix that. There we go. So there's my other leg. And then to finish this next part, I want to draw the thickness of that. And go ahead and let's erase these lines. And let's take a look at this. I've never drawn this chair before, so I'm overall right now I'm pretty happy with it. Oh, you know what? This needs to be a little bit narrower. There you go. And let's curve that a little bit more. There we go. Brush size. I'm going to lower the opacity. And now what I want to do is I want to erase some of this. I want to lighten up this chair. And I would do this with my pencil as well. It's a technique where I'm going to make the brush size really large and then decrease the strength of this eraser. And I'm going to slowly go over this and erase portions of this until I can still see it. And I can do a layer, like an onion skin, another layer on top of this, and I can use this as a reference image. You know, I could have used the original photograph as well. This is just another way of drawing this chair. So this is one step, is to draw your chair, your subject. And if you want, you can lighten it up, erase it, not completely, and then rebuild up the lines. And now you have a roadmap, something to follow along. And by the way, this is a complex chair, and the more you study perspective, just putting time and exercising and trying different shapes and forms, it's a lot of fun. It takes some time too. It's not like it's super intuitive. Like you get it, some people get it right away, some people it takes a while to let it sink in, the logic behind it. It's a process. All right, so I've lightened it, and then I can go back in. Let's see if we can choose another. Let's try Studio Pen. Okay. All right, so then we can go back and now we have some muscle memory. And then you can go back in and now you're happy with the overall shapes and forms. You got the proportions. And again, take your time, but what's nice about this is you've actually spent time with this. Um, you've practiced this. You've observed it. You broke it down to individual parts. You've created a guideline for yourself. I'm using an Apple Pen, by the way, and just the feel of it takes practice. What's nice digitally is you can undo things, go backwards, steps. Man, this little piece right here, this curvature is really tough. Here's another advice for you guys. Sometimes we get frustrated with not being accurate, and it just doesn't look the way we want. It just looks too sketchy, too messy. Okay, how do you get around that? I think some people, myself included, sometimes if you're drawing too fast, you tend to make mistakes, or it's not as accurate as you want. So here's a hint for you: slow down. Slow down your drawing. Take a breath. And there's a feature on Procreate where if I continually hold down the line, it'll allow me to do a straight line. So you can take advantage of that. This one's tougher because it's not, the whole thing is not like jeez. Yeah, that's the tough part. It's like there's curves in this thing. All right, we're getting there. With art and drawing and designing, these curves, the transitions to curve to straight areas, it's not easy. It takes multiple tries, and you have different tools you can use, and patience. And some of your mistakes, your ugly drawings, you'll learn more from those than some of your successful drawings. So embrace your mistakes, your attempts. Alrighty, I think that looks pretty good. And I can spend more time in this. I can put texture into the wood grain. I can actually shade in the cushion. But I hope you enjoyed just this one demonstration in this one short video of how to approach drawing this chair, which is a little bit more complex.